We are in section 34 of Mount Carmel Cemetery in Hillside, Illinois. We're coming up to the gravesite of one William Heaney. He was a bodyguard and a member of Al Capone's organization during the 1920s. Here's his gravesite right here, the monument. And right here is his grave marker. He died, it looks like, on July 13th of 1951. It is uncertain at the time how he died. I believe it was like a heart attack or something, but I am uncertain as the true cause of death. So here he is, his final resting place. It's very easy to find because he's right near the exit. Al Capone's gravesite is right over there. I'm going to be visiting him again shortly. There's Al Capone's gravesite. So William Heaney's within walking distance, and if you look over there, just about where that car is the gravesite of Frank Nitto, who we also visited recently. So Al Capone has two loyal bodyguards and confidants fairly close to him, buried to him, or fairly closely buried to his location. So here he is. We are in section 38 of Mount Carmel Cemetery, coming up to the gravesite mausoleum of Sam Giancana. He was a one-time boss of the Chicago mob during the 70s and early 42 gang member during the 1920s. He was murdered in the 70s while cooking sausages in his backyard on the patio of his River Forest home. It is unknown at the time what the cause of death was, but he's now dead and he's buried here. We are in section M of Mount Carmel Cemetery, coming up to the mausoleum, private mausoleum of Antonio Lombardo. He was an Al Capone advisor, pretty much. He was also a one-time president of the Union Sicilian, which was an organization in the 1920s that helped Italian families pretty much survive. And the Union Sicilian was also a front for organized crime during the 1920s. So here he is. There's a few other people in the mausoleum with him, but I'm unsure on how they are related to him. Now over here in section E, it looks like, is Frank Mariotti, who was the brother of someone else in Al Capone's gang. Actually, it was the brother-in-law of Al Capone's sisters. We are in section Q of Mount Carmel Cemetery, and we're just coming up to the gravesite of Roger Toohey. As you can see, his name is spelled differently on the monument, which is pretty common for gangland gravesites in various cities for the United States. And I'm going to do a close-up here. His name is nowhere on the marker, because that's also a characteristic which is known on the gravesites of gangsters. Their name usually does not show up if it's a family monument, or it's misspelled in several different ways. Now, the thing about Toohey is that he had a territory on the northwest side of Chicago, close to O'Hare Airport. He died in, I think, 59 or 69. He was murdered because after serving time in prison, he wanted to get back into the rackets, and it wouldn't be allowed. So, and he was murdered. We are in section N, the northwestern tip of section N in Mount Carmel Cemetery. I'm coming up to the gravesite of the O'Donnell family. There were many siblings. Three of them, Bernard, Miles, and William, were involved with organized crime. They had a gang on the west side of Chicago called the West Side O'Donnells. William O'Donnell is buried in Oakwood Cemetery. But it appears that Miles O'Donnell and Bernard O'Donnell are buried here in this family plot. So the thing about the O'Donnell family is that they're an Irish Prohibition gang, and that did various things which are unknown to me at the time, unfortunately. So I'm driving along this section here, minding my own business, when lo and behold, I come across this gravesite. It's a gravesite of William McSwiggan. He was a prosecutor in Chicago during the 1920s era, during the Prohibition days. He was partying with the West Side O'Donnells and was killed by accident when the likes of Al Capone came roaring by with a Tommy gun in a car and pretty much shot McSwiggan, unbeknown to him that he was with the group. See, and the thing is about McSwiggan is that he grew up with a lot of these gangsters from the 1920s in their childhood days. So it's unfortunate that he had to die, but you know, that's what's going to happen when you got corruption going on. So there he is. And this is section, I have no idea. All I know is that the O'Donnell family is over that way, and I just happened to be driving by and spotted this. So kiss my ass to the cemetery office who said this was private. You know, it was fairly easy to find. Hell, I just had to drive by and find it. We are in section F of Mount Carmel Cemetery. I am tracking down the gravesite of Sylvester Barton, and originally I thought this was the gravesite, and I probably would have went on into a lecture on how I can't stand names not being on the gravesite. When coming back from my car after grabbing my camera, I stumble upon this gravesite. Now, to begin, Sylvester Barton was bodyguard, among other things, to Al Capone. He died apparently in 1928 and was born in 1897, so he didn't live very long, only up until his 20s, which is pretty much the common age range for gangsters. But we are in section B of Mount Carmel Cemetery, near the back of the cemetery, and I'm coming up upon the gravesite of one Alfred Jake Mingle. He was a reporter for the Chicago Tribune during the 1920s there in Chicago. He was murdered by a man by the name of Leo Brothers. Some people say that Al Capone had something to do with it, others suggest not. Either way, I'll let you decide what you really think. And here's an up close shot of his monument, or his name, rather. This is a gravesite of Henry Spingola. I have no idea who that is, but he was born in the 1890s and died in the 1920s. So I'm going to research this name a little bit to see what I can uncover. So we're going to walk up to the door of the mausoleum right now. So see if we can get a good picture in there. The windows seem to be really clean. See, there he is right there, I believe. Yep, that's his gravesite.